In 2024, Ubisoft hit delete, and the crew, a game people paid for, was gone with no refunds and very short notice. Enter Ross, who launched Stop Killing Games, a movement to keep games playable after publisher support ends. If you support Stop Killing Games, have you fact-checked the claims? Hi, I'm nobody. Real talk, I'm poor. $6,708 a year, poverty level poor. Because earlier this year, Doge cut my SSI in half. If not for my father, I might be homeless. I'm saying this to be clear, I have no love for corporate greed. Be it GameTube or game development, I need a win. So I get your anger. But as advertised, Stop Killing Games is impossible. Every day you're told devs are lying, scared, and attacking you. Everyone's repeating talking points, making it clear no one fact-checked anything. That's irresponsible and a disservice to viewers. Gaming commentary forgot two things. Devs are gamers too. Hi. More importantly, are they telling you the truth? There's a lot stacked against SKG. I'll cover the strongest and weakest arguments, then we'll go over the data. But I don't want you to take my word. That's why I created a way for you to check. I came up with 4 neutral prompts. I know you won't, but I really hope you stop the video, then run these prompts through Claude, ChatGPT, and Gemini, one at a time. If you use deep search, you'll get detailed reports from every prompt. I'll show the results in a minute, but honestly, I hope you run them on your own, then come back and finish the video. But even without LLMs, you can get answers. That's the whole point to this series. Now, let's look at the movement's strongest points. If this is about games, I have no problem saying this is a conversation worth having. Some demands are totally and completely doable, others are ungodly expensive, technologically impossible, and or illegal. I don't need or want to dismiss your frustration. I'm not saying give up. Stop Killing Games isn't the problem, implementation is. So, are these infographics on screen what you want? Or do you just want a way to save games? If so, we need to change course. Let me know if you think that's unfair. I'll make one last video addressing your comments. If this is about what's best for games, ignoring facts for cloud isn't helping anyone. By the way, did you know debug mode has a free trial? Just hit like and subscribe. Thanks in advance. I think Stop Killing Games started genuine enough, but to drive home how manipulative gaming commentary has gotten, I want to show you 2 screenshots. July 4th, 2025, I left a comment on a tech-linked video about Stop Killing Games. The next day, I went to get a screenshot for this video. July 5th, a screenshot taken seconds after posting. As you can see, there's only one comment there. I could see my first comment in my interaction history, but it wasn't visible to anyone. I even checked using another account. Nope, not there. Thankfully, timestamps don't lie. So an hour later, I went back to see if my second comment was removed. Magically, my comment from the 4th was back. Stop Killing Games and its supporters are cherry picking. I'm not gonna do that. Let's run those prompts. First, context, then viability, finally legal implications. You can see the results on screen. Every LLM notes the importance of the campaign, but I ran this test for 5 months. Not once did Stop Killing Games get a thumbs up. Yes, no questions, studios are self-interested. So are the channels pushing Stop Killing Games.
We're so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
Here's what I mean. Stop Killing Games says this is about future games, suggesting that at the start of development, a lot of budget for an EOL team, so they can focus on end-of-life features. The problem is the request. Let's imagine a game lasts 10 years. That end-of-life team has to update the game for 10 years. until publisher support ends and EOL features kick in. This wouldn't be a new team per each game. We're talking an always-on department. For example, middleware's third-party software studios license due to development and maintenance cost. Middleware would also be updated for 10 years. Both need teams of people always on one piece of software. It's like a live service model for studios. Now, this big old infographic covers SKG visibility. It's all just stuff I learned while studying game dev. Continuing on with our "this is about future games" angle, again, the problem is the request. Paragon was cancelled years back. Epic did 3 things. 1. Gave away $17 million in assets free. 2. The game playability system was made for Paragon. They made an RPG project using gas, so developers could learn by example. And 3. Epic couldn't give out the code because it now runs Fortnite. Code is alive, updated and reused for years. Saying this is just for future games does not solve the problem. This is being presented as simple. To start, Ross, SKG's founder, says he's done the work. If he discovered middleware licensing issues, legal complications, and technological complexity, would he A. acknowledge the problems and tell SKG supporters, or B. keep pushing his simplified narrative because it financially benefits him? We know he didn't do A, based solely on Ross's words. Ross also claims developers agree with Stop Killing Games. There's a saying where I come from, you ain't gotta lie to kick it. It's true, some developers agree, but he's cherry picking. I waited to cover developer responses for 2 reasons. 1, to avoid appeals to authority. 2, my concerns and LLMs match the developers' conclusions. Anyone could have found all this information if they looked. But fine, here are 4 legendary developers' thoughts on Stop Killing Games.
I have all the source code for all the Troika games because we, in the sense, in Arcanum and Temple, we own it. We can't give it out. I've already talked about that. I don't own it for the sense of being able to put it out as open source, but I owned it in terms of this is my code. I can reuse it in other games if I want.
He's even been asked to destroy code in the past. Then, the day before recording, David Jaffe and Destin Alighieri had a conversation where Jaffe goes over legality, pricing, technical feasibility, and greed.
We have to keep, God knows how much money in the bank to make sure that if AWS goes offline, we have to be able to afford, even if there's only 1,500 people a month playing the game, not concurrently across the course of a month, that we still have to put out the money for those servers and make sure that it's running. And if new graphics cards become the norm, we have, there's a lot of stuff that this law would force developers to do. And could they do it? Sure, but it would come at the expense of something else. Every day making games is robbing Peter to pay Paul.
David Jaffe is many things. A Corbett show isn't one of them. Up next, Jet Balzac gave his game The Anacrusis to his community.
But we also have art in the game. Art in the game that we purchased. Some of it we purchased at the asset store. Oh no. And some of it we paid people to make. Every company does this. But the license we have with paying for it to be made says, hey, we can't just take that asset and put it up on Fab or some other place to try to just sell it. We can't just make it generally distributed, right? And we honor and respect the artist that created it.
Explaining legal complications using a real-world example.
I do think government regulation is often required to rein in the worst potential business practices that corporations are going to get themselves up to. The reality, however, is that when you have language like working state, when you use words like reasonable, that needs to be clarified into something that is law. And typically, lawyers are involved in that process. And one group that has access to lots and lots of lawyers are the video game publishers.
SKG says they want developers to explain. Okay, Mark Dara put out Stop Killing Games, what's next? He goes through the SKG FAQ point by point, agreeing where and when he can. Dara followed up with Our Games Preservation and Remasters Fighting. It's a deep dive into remasters and preservation. All year, you've been told developers hate Stop Killing Games. Did any of those developers actually say that? No. They agreed. Games preservation matters. This is simple. Fix the problems and you win. That's it. Agree or not, please tell me you see the difference. One side explained in detail, the other, well, Ross Scott can't address the substance, so instead he attacks anyone who disagrees with him. Ask the dude for details, concrete example, and he cherry picks wins while ignoring the failures. See, GameTube has made me uneasy for years and I could never figure out why until Carl Jobst? Whatever, Carl. Carl was one of gaming's most respected investigative YouTubers. Then Carl met Billy Mitchell.
Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison. Gamer of the Year 1989. Whatever. I barely think about it.
Close enough. Early 2025, Carl lost in court. Now, he could owe up to $1.4 million in fees. Why? Carl made provably false claims on video, in Discords, and all across social media. That loss created a legal precedent for any Aussie influencer making false claims. See, gaming commentary is lazy, and that's put them on track to cause the next gaming crash. Not gamers, maybe developers, but definitely influencers. All it takes is someone with enough anger and power to act, and when they do, they can follow the trail of baseless claims right here. And when that trial ends, and everything finally comes out, there'll be another new legal precedent. Crazy part? You'll agree with the court's findings. How can I know that? Carl and the completionist. People took their words as gospel until they got exposed. That said, this seems to come down to one sentiment.
I don't care what Thor thinks. I don't care what David Jaffe thinks. I don't care what anybody in wearing the corporate cap or benefiting from the corporate cap has to say about video games that were sold and what the consumer can do with their product. I'm very on the consumer side in like every situation.
I want to be fair, so that comment is somewhat out of context, but it does cover the point. I said at the beginning, you don't need to take anyone's word. I didn't. I took a server course. I did all this on my own, then ran it through LLMs. When I was done, that's when I looked at what developers had to say. That's why I said I wasn't appealing to authority, because I'm not. Debug mode runs on 3 rules. All sources downstairs. Videos are researched and scripted for accuracy and context. If I can't confirm the details, I'm not saying it, full stop. That's why I spent months trying to debunk my work. I can't. We don't need to guess or assume. Let research decide stories by checking claims against facts. If data supported SKG, then that's the story I'd tell. But I refuse to report what facts can't support. I made this video because my colleagues refuse. Debug mode isn't monetized, meaning I make exactly no money off your frustration. These 8 videos are my one piece.
I left everything I gathered together in one place.
And when I was done, I uploaded this video, set the premiere date, then sent major SKG supporters my research, and waited. I documented all this in community post. Now, They can engage with the actual technical realities or ignore and deflect, showing you their repeating talking points. Either way, gamers win. If they engage fairly, you get the game's preservation discussion needed. If they deflect with ad hominem, they prove gaming discourse is broken. No matter what, I'm taking a week off, cleaning my house, catching up on the 5 months of sword practice I missed, and sleeping a lot. When I get back, I'm making videos I want to make. Debug mode exists because anyone can understand this stuff. Originally, I wanted to use game dev to explain gaming, while I plan to develop my first game. Dude in a Room doesn't get more indie. AMAs, depth directs, YouTube channels, social media replies, that's not gatekeeping, it's developers communicating. Game 2.
How did this happen? Who's to blame? Well, certainly there are those who are more responsible than others, and they will be held accountable. But again, truth be told, if you're looking for the guilty, you need only look into a mirror.
Everything subjective means gamers get no answers. I don't fit any anti-SKG claims. Never worked AAA? I don't even want to. They've spent years blaming everyone. So, am I anti-consumer?
I'm quite sure they will say so.
And they need to knock that manipulative bullshit off. Viewers don't exist to shield your channel from criticism. You know what's really good for consumers? Accurate information. I've treated their arguments fairly. Why can't they? Here's the thing that's always tripped me out about commentary. How does fact-checking hurt stop killing games or gaming? It's a win-win. That's why I'm debunking SKG. I'm so sick of ad hominems and lazy excuses. Do you cut corners on things you care about? Great question. Thanks for asking. Of course not, right? These channels are infinitely bigger than me. GameTube should be doing everything in their power to improve gaming. It's time gamers demand outlets and influencers take their job seriously.
Oh, one more thing.
I cited every claim, gave you my sources and a way to check. So, did 3 LLMs hallucinate for 5 months? 4 industry vets? Incompetent? The law tubers I contacted lied. Engine documentation wrong. Me lying. 60 pages fake and hundreds of data points faked. That's 3 different sources independently coming to the same conclusion. How in the world is that possible? Even if you disagree with my findings, no, really, please. How could I fake all this?
You see, I am simply one
hell of a villain. But am I that good? Of course I am. My hinges constructed a multi-trillion-dollar reality-altering infrastructure in secret to ensure my devious schemes weren't discovered. Alas, somehow my evil plot was exposed. No. Just no. If outlets and influencers are right, stop making excuses and prove it. You've only given gamers 2 options. SKG works versus the industry is scared and lying. I had no problem conceding I've made mistakes somewhere. But real talk, if you've got the nerve to call me a liar, but you refuse to check, then you, Ross, and GameTube don't care about games. You just want to be right. Because ignoring facts, that's the lie. Either way, there's an easy way to prove me wrong. Stop blaming other people. Drop the gamer versus developer narrative. And please, honestly, just fucking check. Because for the love of games,
The world must be free of bugs.